Hi all. This is going to be something very different from what I normally do, but I recommend everyone do this from time to time. It's been hard staying motivated. It's not something that comes easy to most, but what helps me is to look back. So here's my story. Ever since I was a kid, I was fascinated with voiceover work. From the show with the heroes that jumped into lions that turned into one giant robot, to a certain animated series with Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill, I discovered that voice acting was something I really wanted to do. I started stage acting when I was in middle school, and wow, that was a blast. That started me on the road that I'm on now. In high school, I met the person that would become my best friend and wife while we were doing plays. But then adulthood hit, and with that came many responsibilities, a need for money, and eventually, a full family. So, like many young adults, passions take a back seat to you trying to get by day by day. Fast forward many years. My wife, also being the drama kid that I was, found a local theater group in San Diego. I, being the super busy guy I thought I was, decided not to audition for that particular show. I mean, who has the time? I have Netflix to watch. Then came their tech week. The theater needed people to run spotlights, and I decided, what the hell? So I volunteered. That week I saw my family, my kids, and a lot of talented actors bring characters to life on stage again. And it rekindled that little spark in me that said, I want to act. Even if the inconvenience of being in front of people was ever present, this was still, for me, in a sense, voice acting, just with much more attention on me. I was hooked again. I had the theater bug in me, and we put on many great shows. Some not very well known, but still a ton of fun. And some were popular many years ago, but still massively fun. But it still wasn't specifically what I wanted. A couple more years after that, a friend of mine decided to put on a themed wedding. Funny enough, that's also the time that I decided to get the hat that I wear now. A couple days after that, I started feeling awful. Whole left side of my face was aching, and I didn't know why. I just started a new position where I worked, and I was barely in maybe 6 months. And I was just being straight up stubborn. I was in management at that point, and I felt like I couldn't take time away. So I found quick solutions just to be able to get me to work, just so I wouldn't miss that time. And I was pretty much working about 12 hours a day. And let me tell you, that takes a toll on you. I ended up going to the ER, and then I ended up getting admitted to the hospital. Basically, I had a severe ear infection, one that was pretty much attacking the bones in the back of my head. About my second day in, the doctors were still pretty much trying to figure out what was going on, and I developed something called Bell's palsy. For those of you that don't know what Bell's palsy is, it's the paralysis of your facial nerves in half of your face. And obviously, when you can't move half of your face, you don't really speak very clearly. Well, so here I am, still fairly sick, half of my face frozen. And I go back to work, only to find out that my position has been taken over by somebody else, and that I have to report to a whole new office. And I felt like a monster. This is pretty much what I consider the lowest point in my life so far. The job I loved and I'd worked so hard for gone. Having to meet over 100 new people and having them look at me when I felt like a monster was about the hardest thing I had to do. And during all of this, I still had that nagging feeling in the back of my head about what I should have done and the opportunities that I've missed. The doctors let me know that I would probably recover, but it would take somewhere between 2 weeks and 6 months. Well, I very quickly landed back in the hospital, and I had something called a PICC line installed. Again, let me save you a Google search. It's essentially an IV line going straight into your heart, and that delivers antibiotics directly to your main bloodstream about every 8 hours. I had 40 days to reflect on what I should have done. I always wanted to do voiceovers, and I always wanted to do streaming. So after talking it out with my best bud Turtle, and having many conversations with my wife, I decided to gather enough equipment to start streaming. Fun fact, my first stream was actually Final Fantasy XIV. Man, I should play that game again. Then Turtle told me about a friend of his that plays a game called Twitch Sings. Twitch Sings is essentially online karaoke with other Twitch streamers. It's a super fun program and unfortunately is no longer around. But being the ever-competitive person that I am, I wanted to keep up with people and kept getting gear to help. better mics and mixer until I realized I have everything I need to be able to voice act. So again, I go back to my wife and I end up talking to her, and she ends up being my agent. We found a program called Backstage and created my first commercial reel.
Ever wanted to know what it's like to go flying through the air on a dirt bike for a living? Watch our series chronicling the journey of one man, one bike, and candid interviews with some of his paramedic friends. Tonight on the Extreme Summer Sports Network.
She also found this website called Casting Call Club that actually featured many Minecraft roles, but also featured a paid role from time to time. I did well on CCC and gained a ton of experience along the way. I stumbled. Oh boy, did I stumble.
I'm hit.
But along the way, I met some actors like Renara. And I knew Pashley and Eldurrino from Twitch Sings. And I felt that passing on that experience to people is something we could do. We formed ColdRead. Eldurrino gets full credit for the name, by the way. And we've been having a blast. I've had the chance to do video games, comic dubs, radio-style plays. I've been a bad guy, a Pokemon, an intro and outro for a YouTube channel, a member of Voices.com, and doing some work on there. Hell, I'm even Luke Skywalker for a comic dub on a YouTube channel. All in all, so far, I've done well for myself. But there's still many roads ahead. I'm going to fall. I'm going to get my feelings hurt. I may even disagree with some of the feedback I get, but that's the business. Every role has hundreds of people after it. This is nothing I can control. The only thing I can control is me and my performance. So it's time to get back in the saddle and take this dream for a massive ride. Join me, won't you? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Cold Read the Podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Let me turn that down a bit. Woo, well, that was my intro.
Very nice. Also uplifted and yeah. Energized. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, put heart on the link stuff again.
Moody, I moved.
It was something I think I've been struggling with imposter syndrome, and everybody does, and everything else. So I figured this is my note to myself. This is something I can go back and I can listen to. And pick myself up when I need to. So that's my intro. I recommend everybody do this from time to time. Leave yourself a note that you guys can listen to. It really does help out. So yeah.
Totally doing it my next intro.
So there's some ideas for you. But as we do with every particular show, let's check in with everybody. It's been a couple of weeks, and we'll talk about that when it's my turn. Renara, how has your week been?
It's been it's not really been very hectic in the voice acting thing because I'm just trying to get the Skywin stuff done now, because it when a project lasts for so long, you kind of just want to move on to other stuff at this point. I'm at that point where I'm like I'm really like just like, what's the word, hammering it out,
exhausted.
Getting it. Yeah, that's probably a good one. So I'm just going through the throes of that, having some issues with what they want for Orc at the moment, because apparently my samples aren't exactly what they want, but they still greenlit me anyway. So I've gone, right, I'm going to talk to somebody about it and actually make sure I've got the accent right of what they want. But mostly I've just been spending just time to just relax a little bit, because knowing me, I don't actually relax, I stress relax, which is I do loads of stuff when I should be relaxing. So I've decided, nope, that's it, I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to stay off my computer for about 2 weeks, and so come Monday I will be back into the sort of steady stream of getting voice stuff done again.
Nice.
Good.
I think for all the people watching the stream or the VOD, either you have been transported to Wonderland or you are in a new area.
No,
care to tell us about it?
What has happened is I got my own custom booth made for me. It is currently red and black checkered, as these guys said. It's a little sort of add-on to my desk, and I'm so happy with it. I'm so excited to properly use it, stuff.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah.
Can I send you big round checkers so you can put them in the back and move them every week?
Velcro
macro.
If you do that to Moody, I will put them up.
Yeah,
that would be amazing. Like a checker game that lasts the rest of the year. That'd be perfect. One move a
40
week.
checkers, 40 checkers. Oh, go for it, go for it.
So normally I would
man.
say hi to Pashley. As you can see, Pashley has been transformed into Birnam. Hello, Birnam.
Hi there.
Lovely
I
beard.
did not have time
Pashley.
to work on my Pashley impression.
Good. Let's So
Leave it at that, shall we?
for those of you that have not met Birnam, Birnam is new to voice acting. Well, I can't say new anymore. It was new last year. You've got some experience under you, but let's check in with you first. How have you been, Birnam?
I've been good. Life with a 2-year-old mostly.
Right.
But aside from that, yeah, things have been going pretty well. Getting some more work. Got some stuff out there on YouTube and whatnot. More projects up ahead. It's been pretty well. I've
Awesome.
been doing lots of stuff recently on the Ticking Talk.
Yes. I love your
Tick and
series on the
Talk.
Tiki and the Talk.
Yes, that's been a lot of fun. I've just started doing a series on vocal techniques for role-playing games, essentially.
Well,
So
you're also interpreting the language of D&D, aren't you?
that's the one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's specific languages that are like very vaguely described in the books. I've decided,
Celestial,
okay, I'm going to
yeah.
put my interpretation out there for people, and they can play around with that if they want.
And if somebody
That's
wants to look you
fascinating.
up on TikTok, what's your channel?
Oh, TikTok, it's Birnam Wood, Birnam WOULD, as in Birnam would do that.
Nice.
It's true. He would.
Yes,
He would. And other than that, the Hawkeye motion comic that I've been a part of has been coming out roughly an episode every month or two. The final episode of that's going to be coming out relatively soon. You can find that on YouTube. VSquid888 is the person running that.
Nice.
And it's fantastically well done. Really good animation.
Not to pat yourself on the back.
Cool.
I'm not
The
animating
animation.
at all.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
My parts in it are relatively small. But there is a fantastic cast of voice actors on that, and the community making these motion comics just purely as a fan project. Really good stuff.
Nice.
That's how they start.
That's awesome.
That is very awesome. Well, welcome, Birnam. Thank you so much for filling in for Pashley. Pashley, if you're out there, we miss you. We hope you're doing well. Now let's check in a little
Indeed.
closer to home. Mr. Eldurrino, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I was doing pretty all right this week. I haven't been doing as much voice acting as I would like to. Partly because I've been looking for roles, but nothing has really come up that I've either been able to do or stuff that I've really been kind of interested in. So, but on the other hand, I have been working fairly diligently on my secret project thing that I may or may not have mentioned before. Well, yeah, I already did. It's the last part of my trilogy, which is going to be a full-fledged rock opera. Well, not full-fledged, but a shorter version of it. And it's been going really well. I'm very particular about how I write music, and I have about almost a full song's worth in about a week. And usually I sit on a song for about a couple of months before I say, okay, I'm done. I can't do anything more with this. So, yeah, super excited for that. I just started writing the story as well. I already have a lot of ideas churning as to what is going to happen. But I'm also trying to fill it with more lore, I guess, because I think that would be fascinating to incorporate. And there was a preview that I was going to set up for this podcast, but I might have to do it next week because I didn't have time. So yeah, so everything was well and great until I came out of the grocery store about an hour ago and saw that somebody hit the right side of my car. I'm not very happy about it because I have had my car for about 3 years now, and I've lived here for just over a year. And in the first 2 years of me owning it, even with my previous cars as well, never had an accident, never had to worry about it. I moved here and I now have been hit 3 times over the course of a year. So, yeah. Well, the annoying part is I can prove that it was my neighbors that hit my car. So, and so I went over to get their insurance information and nobody answered the door, even though both of their cars are there. So, yeah. So I'm probably going to have to call the police later, which I'm not very excited about doing, but I am getting very tired of this. So, yeah, overall doing pretty well, despite that. And I'm looking to try and find some more auditions this week because I'm very I'm antsy and I want to start auditioning again.
Skywind, always.
Yes. Well, okay. So I have the thing saved, and I started recording some auditions for it a couple of weeks back.
Yeah.
But I'm a bit concerned because one of them requires a very deep voice. And while my voice is deep, I think they're looking for something even deeper than mine, like a full bass. No, the Umbra Orc, I think. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one I know will require a very deep, like baritone or bass voice, and mine's like almost upper baritone. So I don't know. I might still throw my hat or throw whatever in the ring and see, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I just haven't had time because I've been too busy working on music and playing Stardew Valley.
That second one, interesting. It's like me and Netflix. How weird.
Yeah.
So for me personally, first off, apologies for those of you that were expecting an episode last week. We were just about ready to go, and I woke up and I was in terrible moods. Not a terrible mood, but I felt terribly. So I ended up with a fever, and it's been this whole ordeal where I've been sick. I've been in the hospital at least on Wednesday. I got my medication. I'm good to go now. Essentially had an intestinal infection, not the ear infection that was like last time. This was something completely different. I'm better now, thankfully. So obviously we're here today, and I'm back. I'm eating again. Yay. As far as actual work, I've submitted some lines that will hopefully come out soon for Luke Skywalker. I'm super excited for you guys to hear my interpretation of Luke. Everybody seems to be very happy with it. Did a couple auditions. I'm actually still in the running for an audition for Cigna, I believe, which is going to be a national commercial. So hopefully, hey, good luck. I'm shortlisted. I'm still waiting to hear, see what's gonna happen with that. So hopefully more to come with that. We'll see what happens. But yeah, with me, we'll leave that enough, and we will talk about our guests. So the person that's been sitting in the middle of us, if you're here watching us live or on YouTube, is Miss Krystal Martinez, also known as Captain Lady Luck. And hello, how are you?
Good.
Yay.
Really excited to be here.
Yay. Well, welcome aboard. So let's do this. Let's go ahead and listen to Krystal's a demo reel, because we heard it. I think it was like episode 3. But here it is again, one more time.
Sir, if I may, these paintings are more than just plebeian decor. They're visual constructs of passion and beauty, all of which are showcased with just a few brushstrokes. They're practically timeless.
Listen, kid, I couldn't care less about your feelings. You're here to do a job. If your emotions get in the way again, I'll personally escort you to the first vessel out of here.
Excuse me. Listen, you might be a bit charming, but this is neither the place nor matter to execute that sort of... So sorry. Flirtatious behavior. I can do this by myself.
Ay, mijo, por favor. A wrong answer isn't the end of the world, you know. Part of education is accepting that there's something to learn in the first place.
You need to embrace that journey.
It's okay. I'm happy to do it. I swore I'd use my gifts to help others. If that means putting myself in the line of fire, then I'll gladly do so. You heard of the beast in these waters. I've seen it myself. A shell made of sailors' bones, eyes crimson and thirsty for blood. You'd be wise to stay to your quarters tonight.
All right, everybody give me a thumbs up when you're all done.
Yep.
There's 1, 2, 3. Excellent. So welcome back, everybody. Miss Martinez, how are you today?
Great. I'm great. Thank you.
You're great. Well, let's talk about you. So first off, do you, outside of well, I mean, obviously you do the voice acting thing right now, and we'll talk about how you got into that. Is there anything else? Are you a student? Do you do some particular for a living? What are you comfortable sharing?
Yeah, so I do have a full-time job. I work in a hospital system down here in Miami, Florida, and I work with students. I actually finished my master's degree in higher education administration a few years ago, and I felt comfortable being able to do that when I got this job 6 years ago now. And that's what I do on the daily. We're working from home, which is fantastic. I get to be here with the puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and with that kind of time, without the commute to and from work, I can, shut down one computer and turn on the other to start auditioning and things like that. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. And aside from that, I like to play games. I like to hang out with my friends and hopefully stay safe during this pandemic because it's still rampant and insane. But yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, part 2.
So I see that you're in your blanket for it. So I'm assuming this is your booth.
It is.
Very nice, very nice. So let's talk about this. How did you get into voice acting?
Oh man, I love this story. So I've always wanted to get into something creative. Creativity is my fuel. My friends and family from years ago to even now, they know I love to write and all these different things. So voice acting was one thing that I had sort of messed around with the idea of pursuing. And years ago, in a job that I had in another higher ed location, someone asked me to do a voiceover for them for a commercial. And I did it, and they were like, wow, your diction is on point. You're so clear and you have so much energy. You should really look into doing voice acting. And I was like, wait, that's a thing? And he's like, yeah. And he showed me Voices 1, 2, 3 at the time. And well, needless to say, something like that comes up, you get super busy in your life and everything moves forward. So I went to a con, I think around 2017, where it was Erica Linebeck, Josh Grell, and Colleen Klinkenbeard. I'm huge on anime and video games. I sat in their panel, which was how to become a voice actor. And my friends went with me. We sat in, we listened, and I got super inspired. And one class they had mentioned in particular was Crispin Freeman's voice acting classes online. So that fall, I signed up for my first class with him. And I told myself, if he thinks I've got what it takes, I will go for this. So at the end of it, I asked him, I said, do you think I could go for this? Like, I could be successful here? And he was like, absolutely, you definitely got it. And I'm like, done. This is happening. So I took 3 more classes with him, and I audited a mocap class with Trina Jensen in California and Victoria Atkin, the voice actress for Evie Fry from Assassin's Creed Syndicate. And in the middle of all of that, I got engaged with my longtime boyfriend, high school sweetheart. And then I also started my master's. So I was like, all right, I think I gotta put the brakes on learning more about voice acting and practicing. So I did. And last year, I actually joined the VoiceOver Network. And I took a workshop in December with Chris Sabat. And I was like, Sabat. Wow. Yeah, with Chris Sabat. I always say Sabat language. But so I took this class with him, and I was like, okay, so revival here. 3 years after I initially set out to do voice acting, I'm going to try again and see if I can revive this, especially with the pandemic. I know myself, like many others, have, we sat down and we reflected like, wow, it could all end tomorrow. We should go for exactly what kind of dreams we want to have. And this was mine. I was reinvigorated to pursue it. So after starting practicing with a friend of mine in September of last year and then taking that workshop with him, I asked him again, so do you think I could do this if I tried? If I really went for it? And he also said, yes. Be honest with yourself, though, in terms of where you're at, because definitely where I was at that point, I had already had so much time in between where I hadn't been practicing, or I hadn't even auditioned for a role before. And so then this year started and I went full force. I started taking classes, and they were all entwined. From February to April, you could find me in a class online. So I've taken classes with Sunny Straight, with Chuck Huber, with some lovely ladies in oh my goodness, the name escapes me because I'm excited and of course on the spot. It's these lovely ladies in a studio in California, Mimi Maynard, and learned from them, really got my confidence up and things like that. And I told myself that I would get a demo reel made in May. And in the meantime, I've been working on networking in the community. Twitter is where it's at with the VO community. And that's where I've met so many wonderful people. That's where I've found most of the auditions that I've been able to go for. And here we are, fast forward, and I'm happier than ever. I joined a Discord community. Shout out to any of them if they're watching. It's called the VO Friends Discord, and we practice twice a week all together. And we're getting new members all the time. We practice together, and we're all getting better. And I know you've heard my demo reel, but in that then that workout, I've actually been able to branch out and find new voices and strengthen them. So I think probably next year, I've already promised myself I'm going to look into making a new demo reel that showcases more of what I can do in terms of different types of character archetypes. But yeah, so that's my story.
Wow. Well,
Very
first, let me catch up with chat real quick. So the Purple Paladin says 10 out of 10 range, amazing demo. And also says All Might taught her well. So, so I mean, it's very cool. It's a great story. That's a lot of classwork. That's a lot, which is always, we're always recommending it when it comes to if you can't attend a class, definitely read about something. Definitely just keep researching and keep doing it. So it's awesome to hear.
Definitely.
Knowledge is power.
Yes, exactly.
So what do you record mostly on, if you don't mind me asking, equipment wise?
Oh yeah. So when I joined the voiceover network, I had a Turtle Beach streaming microphone. And that was last year, at the end of last year. And one of the members of the voiceover network actually helped me and made recommendations of different things I should buy. So I ended up with an Aston Spirit microphone.
Okay.
That we identified would be really good for my voice type. I bought a Focusrite Scarlett Solo Gen 3. And then I have my Microsoft Surface, which I bought this last September. Like, okay, this is it. Nothing goes in here except voice recordings and I guess writing if I get to it. And then after all the classes I was taking, my sound engineer for my demo reel actually made recommendations in terms of things I could order to set up the booth. So I set this up right before I recorded with the director. And this is my little corner.
Yay.
Awesome.
Skyheart15 says, yay, go Krystal.
I've made so many good friends in this community. It's wild to me. I'm such a people person, so I'm on Twitter when I can, which is every day, just to talk with so many awesome game developers and VAs such as yourselves, and just even people that are just fans of voice acting in general or want to collaborate. Eldurrino was saying earlier that he loves to collaborate, and I am the same exact way. Anytime someone's like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" I'm like, "Yes, tell me the details."
100%, absolutely. Because I mean, for the most part, networking is the lifeblood. And we've talked about this again in this podcast before. It's just if you've worked with somebody and you know somebody, next time, because you're going to find a lot of people when you're in a project. It's like, hey, do you know such and such that could fit blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden those people will pop in your head, and then you can make those recommendations.
Yep, exactly.
So, Krystal, I have to ask, what has been your first role, if you don't, and I'm not talking about published role, I'm saying, what was the first thing you auditioned for and got, even if it wasn't completed?
So, believe it or not, I haven't actually landed any of the auditions I've made in particular. What the roles that I've been getting so far have been, they've heard my demo reel, actually.
Oh.
So they hear the demo reel. The first person I actually worked with and recorded a role for, I'm not sure if she's watching or not, but she goes by Leporine on Twitter. And she was preparing a visual novel game for Otome Jam, I think it is. One of the jams that the game developers use to, in a week make a game, throw it together, script, story, all that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she actually wasn't going to include a voice at all. And then she heard my demo. And the only reason I had found out about where to place my demo was a friend from the VO Friends Discord. And she had mentioned, I don't know if you'll see any offers come through, but it doesn't hurt to try, at least so more people can hear your demo. And within a few days, I got that message from Leporine, and she said, I wasn't going to put a voice, but then I heard your first voice in your demo, and I'd really love to work with you. Whether this gets into the jam or not, please, if you have time. And I'm like, I am so ready. Let's do this.
Nice.
So so I voiced this lovely character named May. The game is called Lemonade, and it's about first crush in elementary school and confessing your feelings. So I actually got to play the part of the person that the main character confesses to. And it was really sweet, and it was for the I don't want to spoil it in case anyone wants to check it out, but it's not voice acted the entire time. You'll hear my voice after you take a specific action. So
I think I know what you're talking about. I think I've heard of the game that you're talking about, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah, no. I you said Lemonade, I immediately went, I think I know of this game. I think I'm gonna have to pick your brain about demo reels then, because I've been struggling to just sit down and go, yes, this is what how did you put it together then? How did you decide what was going where? Did you write the scripts and then voice them, or did you just take them from previous projects? What did you do? Tell me.
Yes. So I had already heard advice for years, don't make a demo reel until you've practiced enough, and you will know when you're ready to make your demo reel. And at first when I heard that, I was like, that's so infuriating. What do you mean I'll know? That's you'll know which dress you're going to wear at your wedding. I don't know. And then I knew. The demo reel was the same. After I took a certain amount of classes, even though I had already set a goal for myself, I'm going to do it in May. That was just me goal setting. But by the time I got to May, by the time I was in April, I was like, I am ready to do this. So I actually had already been keeping my eye out. There's lots of amazing audio engineers and mixers in the Twitter VO community, and I had been looking at a few, and I saw one, also going to plug her, SEO VA, and I reached out to her. We had a great chat, and she offered the script writing and the mixing and the music and all of that. So when we were talking about the script, she asked, what archetypes do you have to work with? And I recorded several voices that I felt I already had in my wheelhouse. And she created archetypes for each of them. And I decided I wanted to showcase my strongest voices, because that was something else that I had heard. On a demo reel, you probably want to go with all the different archetypes that are closest to your natural voice. So that's what I did. And once we selected those, she wrote the script, sent it to me, and she also recommended that I work with a director. So just the Clippy on Twitter, her Amanda Hufford, I worked with her. She's phenomenal. She actually directed me during my session. So so I read through the script with her once before, and she just said, try to zero in onto these different facets of the script that you're reading and really push through, shine through, and then we set another day for recording. So for me, it was very much a collaborative effort. They helped bring out the best side of my VO skill. And I mean, the demo reel has already spoken for itself. I just booked officially my second this week. And I have a few other things in the background that haven't been announced yet, but you bet you're going to hear about it the second they're announced. So definitely for the demo reel, if you feel comfortable doing it on your own, you could. But there's a lot of great people out there that would be able to help you, write the script for the archetypes that fit you best, the directors that will get you in the moment you need to be in so you can deliver that performance and have it on that demo reel.
Well, I'll be looking these people up for sure.
Great Great
I can
question,
link you
Renara.
to them.
Please do.
Yes.
Please. I need to get that demo reel done. And as soon as you said I've booked most of my things through this, I'm like, right. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I need. It's been on like that sort of like back burner of stuff that are like I'll get to eventually. I'll get to eventually. Nope. Right. That's come to the front now. Okay.
No, yeah, especially with your experience, Renara. Like, I mean, I'm a
all the time though.
well, I mean, that's something you have to break out of. Like, I mean, as you saw, when I showcased my demo reel, I made that, and the day following, I sent it to someone in hopes that it would get something, and I landed a role for an original animation. Like, you'd be surprised. It's a lot of work to put in there to showcase, what you're good at or what you're best at. But you'd be surprised as to how much stuff it can land you.
Right.
And there's definitely something to be said for, when you're auditioning and you're looking through all of these different roles and you're like, yeah, I think I can do that one, and you audition and you're on tenterhooks waiting for a response, versus just putting a demo reel out there and then the role's coming to you.
Yeah.
Just, it's out of your hands, but as we're seeing, it works, and it must be so much less stress.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and not only that too, but say you do submit an audition and you follow it with your demo reel, you may not necessarily get that role in particular, but a lot of creators or writers really appreciate that you send that along, because then they'll save that and say, if there's something else that we think your voice would be good for, we'll definitely give you a shout. I mean, like, I haven't had it happen to me personally, but I do recall one thing I auditioned for where they were like, we really like your voice, but it's not exactly what we're looking for, but we're really appreciative that you sent your demo reel along, because we have other projects in the works that we're going to be emailing people about. So if we find a voice or a good fit for your voice, then we'll definitely let you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's having, this is me, if you think I would be good for your project, get in touch, versus could I work for this role maybe?
Exactly.
And we've all heard the stories from voice actors that they see directors and they're like, hey, I've been trying to work with you for years, I've just been trying to find the right role for you. Those are the demo reels that they listen to and fit those together again. So it's always good to have that out there. Absolutely, 100%. So, and it'll probably be season 3 before Renara gets her demo reel out. Because
no. Okay, I promise I will have it done by the end of this season.
Ooh,
you just need to get one done before I do. That's an attainable goal.
Get it done before I finish my rock opera.
Which is
pushing it slightly, Eldurrino.
No, I mean, I'm not projecting that to be completed until December, so you got time.
Oh no, yeah, I say that now. I was like, oh no, I'll get it done, and then I'll just realize, oh god.
And
and November rolls around, and you're like, oh Christ.
Marking that sound clip for later. Great. Okay.
Oh,
thank you so much.
All right.
It's fine. I do this to myself. It's all good.
Krystal, let me ask you this, because this show is about teaching. This show is about learning. So if you were to magically be able to see yourself when you were first thinking or first starting out with this career, what advice would you give yourself?
Oh man, the advice I would give myself is not to give up.
Good.
And that sounds easier said than done for anything, everywhere, anytime, but especially with creative careers like voice acting, I know one of the hard impatience is not my virtue. It's not, and I've had to really learn it in, I would say, the last 8-9 months. And I think I would just tell my previous self, look, it's going to get hard sometimes, and sometimes time is going to feel like it's passing and nothing is happening. But a lot of the things in this creative career take time, not 1 hour, not 2 hours, not 30 seconds for, whatever food in the microwave. No, it takes time. It may be months before you hear anything, and be ready for that. And just remember to, enjoy other things in your life in the meantime, and you'll be able to make it through.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Good. Let's go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's not necessarily a bad thing either, because For me, so that animation I had mentioned, I just finished recording a monologue for him that it's a one-man project, doing all the animation himself, and he's starting to animate around my voice currently. And I was like, let me know once you have new stuff for me to record, and I'll get right on it. And he's like, well, it's probably going to be like a month or two, and I'm like, okay. But at the same time, it gives me a chance to practice with that voice to make it a lot better than what I originally envisioned it as. The character itself is a very kind of like stoic alien character who doesn't really express a whole lot of emotion necessarily. And when I presented it to him the first time, I did bring a lot of like caricature to it, almost, where it was very like up and down. He's like, no, I kind of want it to be a little bit more droll and like monotone almost, because he's not like he's basically a character that's kind of just like given up on life and doesn't really care about anyone or anything. But at the same time, I feel like it's important to have that that practice in the back of my mind, just in case something does come up in that instance. I can work with the creator and say, would you like this part to be monotone just like the rest of it, or would you prefer something, a bit different? Like one of the audition lines that I had sent to him was like he's being interrogated, and one of the things says like, if you're gonna stir the pot, you better be ready to lick the fucking spoon, or something like that. And
I like that.
The way I had done it two ways, I had done it as more of like a threat, and then the second way was almost like as if he was getting ready to attack his interrogator, like, better be ready to lick the fucking spoon, and like breaks out his handcuffs or some shit. And he liked that. He liked the second one more than the original one, and I was like, okay, cool. So yeah, when you have downtime, it certainly helps to practice the voices that you are working on, or ideas that you have going in your mind, because it's going to help you later on down the road. Say you want to use a voice for another project, you have that already set up and you're already versed enough with it that you don't really need to think about it before going into the booth and getting it done.
Exactly.
Well said. Krystal, I had the question that just formed in my head. Let me see if I can bring it back up before.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. So, okay. So in regards to your demo, you mentioned you had a director. So have you had the live feedback as you're in your recording booth, or?
So I have, with the director, we did it over Discord.
So it's a directed session.
Yeah, it was a directed session. So I get feedback often in, for example, the workout Discord that I mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
We practice scripts often, and there's a moderator who gives us feedback and, lets push it a little more, bring it a little back, have a little bit more of that, those natural sounds as you're speaking and like that.
So how, because I know for a lot of people, everybody's always nervous about having somebody in your ear as you're doing the recording. How was that experience for you?
Loved it. Definitely being able to collaborate live with somebody is super helpful, because you get to focus on playtime. You get to focus on bringing a character to life. And then if there's a particular direction you didn't initially take, the director's there to say, that was great, but it's similar to what Eldurrino was saying. Maybe that line came out threatening, but he wanted it more, as you mentioned, monotone. Like, well, that's fine. And that's what really makes me happy about a director. They get to do that piece, because I probably can't hear it when I say it. Maybe naturally to me, I'll read a line one way and they'll say, we actually need it in this other way. And that's in that Discord. I'm telling you, that Discord twice a week workout, it really helps me. Sometimes I'll read a line in a script, like sad, and the moderator will mention, well, in this case, you're actually talking to someone and you're happy about it. Oh, okay, got it. I will switch that around and give you that second take. and being able to practice it that way, even just with, VO friends and things like that, people in the industry, you get used to it. And I think that's what the greatest benefit of workshops are with a lot of these VO industry workers, as well as directors and things like that, because you can practice interacting with someone live.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No,
go
I was
ahead.
gonna.
I think that's similar to the whole thing with demo tapes versus auditions. It's, you audition for something, you're like, okay, I've interpreted it this way, but maybe that's not right, but I'll send it anyway.
Exactly.
And then you either get crickets or you're waiting, weeks for any sort of feedback. So getting that immediate feedback, I'm like, oh, no, do it like this. And you immediately adjust. So much less stress.
Exactly.
So, and you're right. The industry in general is super stressful, and the waiting game is always, I think, the hardest part. It's always been for me. I don't know about you guys, but
No, I
I would
agree.
agree.
yeah. So, like the first role that I personally landed was called Midnight Poppyland. It's a comic dub. We recorded it back in March, and I think I didn't see a video until like a year later.
I'm still waiting for
Wow.
mine.
So yeah, so those 2 episodes that we got finally came out, and we were at recorded up to episode 10. So sometimes you're going to put stuff out there and you're just not going to hear anything back until they're actually like sitting down and recording. So yeah, that's
Exactly.
yeah, that's how that works out. So you got to learn the patience, like you said. It's like
Yes. Number one.
We may have to poke you for that Discord, because that sounds like a very, very good place to be.
Oh, yes. I'd be
Yeah.
happy to link you guys. We're always definitely looking for more people to join in. It's a safe space where everybody can play from, the darkest villainous characters to the preppiest protagonists. And it's not all just anime scripts. It's also learning how to warm up before sessions and reading monologues to get the diction practice in and things like that. So it's very varied, and it's going to help you in all facets.
Have you found that you land more anime roles than others? Just because I don't. This might be just the way I'm interpreting. Because when we went through your demo reel previously, I think I brought up the fact that your voice that sounds very anime. It's that high pitch. It's that high pitched joyful thing. I was just wondering, like, have you gotten many in that category, or have you found that it's actually still quite varied, despite the fact that some people like myself would typecast you from hearing your demo reel, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So even though I definitely was on the side of anime for recording my demo reel, I've actually seen I've gotten a lot of work opposite of anime peppy and stuff. And I think that lends to the practice that I've been able to put in very emotional reads, very high stakes reads. And I'm doing that behind the scenes, even though the demo reel is like, hi, me, like
yeah.
And that part is what a lot of people are actually asking of me, like, okay, bring it back. Like, we know you can do up here over the top hyper and happy go lucky. Let's bring it back and make it more real. And that's really what I've seen that I've booked.
Because I love the commander sounding one, which I think lends that out. So I absolutely love that, because just coming from my own experience, where I've not been typecast, but I've been told, because my voice is naturally lower for females, that I'd only get certain roles. And it's just interesting to hear that, despite the fact there are certain sounds and certain things, you're actually getting the opposite. That gives me hope.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you get typecast, you get typecast, but at least you're getting cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, Krystal, I have to ask. So you came. We listened to your demo before. We gave you some feedback. I asked Edward the same question. How did you interpret? How did you feel about the feedback that we gave you?
So the feedback that you guys gave me, when I initially heard it, I was like, I need to remake my demo reel. But then I was like, okay, Krystal, stop it, bring it back. Think about it again. And I was like, everything you guys said was accurate. I felt it's very much, as I was just mentioning to Renara, it's very in the spirit of anime. And that's something that while I'm glad to have it out there, I do know I need to expand a little bit more. I definitely intend to make a commercial demo reel down the line to get work on that as well. Audiobooks, things like that. And the post that I had made where I was retweeting the podcast, I was still proud that you guys had taken the time to listen to my demo reel. Oh. And that's the way that I felt about it. And anybody willing to take the time to listen to your work, to give you feedback, to me, that's the most valuable thing, because you cared enough, you took your time, and patience goes hand in hand with the time. As I mentioned before, time is so valuable as a VA. So if you're taking the time to give a fellow VA feedback, I mean, to me, that means the world. And I've learned to really appreciate that and just add it to, okay, remember what certain people have said, add it to what you need to work on, and move forward and improve. And, whatever vibes with you, because sometimes people get feedback and they would, okay, they said that and I hear them, but I know what route I'm taking. In this case, for me, I took your feedback and I said, okay, I need to work harder and I need to create more content that shows that I'm not just looking for the anime protagonist role, even though that's on the bucket list. But yeah, so I really appreciated your feedback very much. I think being able to hear, listen to, and incorporate critique and feedback is so important for us to grow. Even if we don't agree with it, or if we do agree with it, either way, you should consider it at the very least, I think.
Well, yeah, and of course, we're not experts by any means. We just try to build everyone up because we love this community so damn much. So obviously, our critiques are our own personal opinions. If you don't want to branch out into other things, you don't have to necessarily. I mean, there's plenty of people that make their entire career about being good at one single thing, but they are the best at that single thing, and that's okay too. If you want to be the best anime protagonist you can possibly be, go for it. That's cool. That's respectable.
Yeah, it just occurred to me as well that when receiving feedback, that your immediate instinct is that it's negative. Even if you don't agree with the feedback, you can just immediately think, well, I don't agree with that. But why do they think it?
Exactly.
And that's a moment for self-analysis. They could be completely wrong in your opinion, but they still think that about your performance or about you or whatever. And trying to figure out why they think that, even if it is incorrect, is a moment for analyzing how you're portraying yourself or how you're going about doing things.
And for growth as well.
Absolutely.
I find it easier. Sorry. I was just going to say, because I like to use the product analogy of they're not actually attacking, they're not saying you are doing bad, but the product, what you're putting out there, it can be improved. So that way you can separate yourself from that and go, oh, hang on a minute. Okay, now I can see, I can add this and do that, rather than having it be on you, so to speak, sort of thing. That's how I avoid getting as hurt. It still hurts when you hear someone go, not great. But at the same time, like you said, you think about why have they said that, and then you go, oh, the product I am showing people right now is giving this impression. Thus, I need to change this sort of thing to help with that part.
Exactly.
And it's funny because that's a hard lesson for a lot of and I'm not going to say just voice actors, artists in general need to learn. We've been watching this show called like Ink Master or something to that effect.
Oh, Ink Master, yes. Sorry.
Every time they get a critique, they get so mad and so defensive.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you said. It's like they're not critiquing you personally. Don't take it personally. They're trying to help you improve so you can put out a better product. And I think that's where a lot of people falter when it comes to this profession. They don't want, they see it as the negative. They see their spirits all of a sudden go down. And that's why you see a lot of drop off when it comes to those people that are trying to do this. You need to be able to interpret it exactly the way that Krystal, Birnam, and Renara have said. It's just, you have to take that self-reflection and you have to push it forward.
And again, we're having a community and a safe space that Krystal's talking about, to put yourself out there and gain that confidence, to overcome that fear. That's super important, I think.
That's one exact reasons why I like getting together every week and talking with fellow voice actors, because I lean on you guys. I support, and I love listening to what you guys are putting out and giving that same critique back out. This is why you'll never hear me try to defend. If you guys have a note for me, I will take it. I will listen to it. I will never say, I was trying to do this or trying to do that. No, you're giving me that. I will add it to my wheelhouse and I will move forward.
Yeah,
exactly.
Very cool. We're going to start wrapping up here real quick, but Krystal, let me ask you the most important question of all. Do you like your voice?
I do.
Oh, yay!
I do. I definitely do. Before you get into voice acting, it's definitely something new to hear your voice on recording. But another opportunity, I guess, where I had to hear my voice back before was one of my first jobs. I worked in a law clinic for the school, a pro bono law clinic, and
Fun.
I was actually recording. Yeah, I was actually recording in kind of like a mock interview, preparing for a trial with someone. Yeah. And when it got played back, I was like, that's my voice. And I think that was the first time I had ever heard my voice, because before that, actually, Eldurrino's probably gonna say something now, but I was in chorus for a lot of my childhood, and so I sang all the time.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I actually heard my voice back in song form, but I had never heard it back in conversational. So now that I'm hearing it, I would say, even though I don't necessarily like my performances all the time, I like my voice. I probably could do better than that, but we're our own worst critic, I think. So no matter what, we're gonna hear it,
We've definitely talked about that, yes. Out of curiosity, what software do you use to edit what you've recorded?
Oh, yes.
So I was using Audacity,
Okay.
and then everything came out about the updated terms.
Yep.
And I'll leave it at that. So
we talked about
yeah. So I saw the buzz on Twitter that those few days, and Reaper kept coming up. So I've actually been in the evaluation stage for Reaper for about a month already.
Nice.
And I love it. It's really, really good. I've been able to manage my recordings very well on there. And because we all kind of took a step away from Audacity, a lot of us are also in the mix learning how to use it. So anytime I don't know something, there's usually someone talking about it, or I can ask, hey, do you know how to do this on Reaper? Because I haven't figured it out, but I'm already learning the shorthand keyboard, shortcuts and things like that. So yeah, Reaper is what I'm using right now.
Nice.
Are you a pack rat like me, and do you keep everything you've ever recorded?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel better now.
It's just memory space. Why would you get rid of it?
Yeah, I have it all on my Surface. It's all there from the moment I started recording.
I swear the word hoarder will come up somewhere, the new age version of hoarder.
I mean, if Birnam said, if we have the space, why not?
Just buy another hard drive. It's all right. It's okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say with that, let's go ahead and start closing up. This has been a great conversation. Thank you so much, Krystal, for coming on. Any last words from the panel for Krystal?
Keep doing what you're doing, girl. It's brilliant.
Yeah, you've got the right attitude for it, for sure.
Yeah. No, I agree. And yet never be afraid to try something new, especially if you're looking to branch out into different roles.
Yeah.
Just shoot your shot and see what happens.
If you
the
ever
worst
want,
that'll happen is you get a no.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Also,
if
keep
you
in
ever
touch.
want any of us, yeah, exactly.
This is a new network node. It's
yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
If you ever
So
want
don't
any
worry.
of us to look over stuff or direct or anything, we are here to help, girls. Okay.
Or if you need technical
Thank you so
expertise,
much.
Eldurrino and I are pretty good on that. If you need actors, we've got Raven Main, who is an award-winning actor, and we love saying that. We've got Orange Uglad, who's got a ton of experience. We've got Birnam right upstairs, who's great at accents. We got Pashley, who's got a lot of breathing exercises to help us out.
I can do directing if you need it, because I do my own. I'd make my own thing. I currently am directing quite a few actors for my own thing. So if you ever need just somebody to kick you up the butt with something, I'm here.
And there's Birnam right there asking award-winning in quotation, but really, he is.
He is. He points it out every time.
Well, I pointed out for him
to.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a great ride. We're so happy to hear your story. Thank you very much. And yeah, if you need any help, let us know. And for those of you out there in general, ColdReadthePodcast@gmail.com. If you have any auditions you want us to listen to, if you have any topics that you want us to talk about, or any news comes up that you want us to see, please feel free. If you have any questions, we'll direct it to the right place now. We're always happy to help those that are struggling, or because we've all been there, and we all want to make sure that you get your best foot forward and you keep moving along. So thank you again, everybody. This has been an absolute awesome experience. And with that, we will say, have a great night. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Drink water.
Kitty.